Chile with Sirius Tellus Moon, Jupiter, our midheaven on Sirius Moon, conjoining Ketu and Venus 5 degrees Cancer. So I'm going to try to comprise a concept for orgasmic birthing inspired architecture. And I'm gonna use chat. I'm gonna use the AI, and yeah, me and my crazy ideas. So, oh wow. So let's see. Orgasmic birthing inspired architecture. Okay. Is an emerging radical design philosophy aimed to be demedicalize childbirth. But I was like, let's see, inspired. Yeah. No, no, no. It's I was looking for it through other words. There it is. Orgasmic breathing. I wanted to say birthing, but let's see. Orgasmic breathing architectural movement. Perhaps, Jupiter hour. So perhaps it's going to be even more exact. While there's no formalized architectural movement, maybe I made something up right now. The concept connects deeply with sensory, biomimic, and biophilic design. But basically, this is the essence of. And um, it explores how spatial geometry, airflow, and kinetic technology can replicate the rhythmic, ecstatic, life-affirming rhythms of human breath and body. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for in housing, and that is something that also honors the feminine. It's interesting how the breathing patterns is Jupiter, and the Venus is the embodied sense of self. So it's breathing life into matter, and the emergence of a breathing pattern from the embodied integration of these experiences. Let's begin to try and see what is this about, because it's also about aligning the nervous system. I talked about nervous system supportive housing a while ago. um, and here's the thing: the antidote to trafficking and rape culture is the orgasmic birthing sense of self. Okay, kinetic and breathing facades. Let's see. I don't have AI here. Um, what is so? Let's see. What would that be? Okay. Let's see. Pictures. Okay, this is, for example, something that's less because of its distinct patterns. Is something that is less ebb and flowy. It sounds very compatible to breathing and design and the Aquarian. Um, it's an airflow, but it's something that is less blending. I know it brings the yin yang balance from the yang perspective. This is very cute. This is very cute. but I don't think that that's. I'm actually looking for the bringing the texture from the yin perspective. But this is so cute. I really like this house. Those are beautiful places. Like this is definitely a place I would probably enjoy spending time in. Also, this is very cute. Just like stuff I never thought about that are really profoundly beautiful. Now, how would I? First of all, I need to book page this and um, what is a pavilion? A lot of people talk about a co-housing, talk about a pavilion. Um, Again, cute, but it is it's this is describing to me coming into yin from yang. If I talk about the neither the perfect circle or the perfect linear lines, so this is coming to the circle from the lines, which I love. I love as a concept, um, particularly for the orgasmic birthing pattern. I think is something different. And sensory biomimetic. Let's see. Biomimetic architecture. I'm looking for pictures. Oh, this immediately caught my eye. The art of imitating life. Now, this is fascinating because when I think, I love this. For example, I don't know what is it, but that could absolutely be a design because if I think about, you know, the integration of um, and the transitional phases where the organic and what is perceived to be the inorganic are fit together. For example, I talked about, let's say, orgasmic birthing. Yeah, but it's not like, oh, going back to nature and having nobody around to assist that has any technology to facilitate an easier birth. No, actually, the technology can be something that facilitates breathing or facilitates not by giving our power away. Okay, for example, think about a person who is quitting smoking. Then certain people would need to shape the environment in a way that support that. I know when one of my parents had quit smoking way before I was born, they were or maybe afterwards, then I was already born not liking the smell of smokes, which is amazing inheritance. When people think about inheritance, they think about, real estate and stuff. And I'm like, no, I inherited that. And so, um, but they were carrying like a pack of cigarettes in the bag for like a year or so, just in case. So that can be the type of design that reminds us that, hey, wait a second, if we need let's say if we need a C-section or if we need something to kind of like to save the day, let that be accessible. It's not about when I was going from prescribed amphetamines to essential oils, then of course my entire life trajectory was changing. I was bringing in astrology, which later would be astrological elections, and I'm still in progress with that. But that was how my life trajectory changed, and going from not taking the amphetamines to boost up the system and have another day of work in Jada courses or something, but to try to the transition phase. Um, so this one really reminds me. This really reminds me of that. It's basically shaping a fungi. I cannot make it up. Um, so they are the nourishing fungi that are actually supporting life and biomimicry of that. Wow. I wouldn't be surprised if I need to live in such a residence in order to dissolve the residues of like the chronic fungal structures in my body. Particularly if it's shaped in particular. For example, Deneb algae has the not this one, lion's mane. So if you think about the texture of lion's mane, basically fungi, then or mushroom or whatnot, that it looks like a stone house. It looks like if we drill into it, it's a stone house. It looks like agate from the outside, and so that's an idea that I didn't think about. Um, Lots of beautiful ideas, just not all of them compatible to. Okay, this is fascinating for a bigger city infrastructure, but let's take a look at that. I love the inspirations that people take from fruits and stuff. This is so cute, so cool. Biomimic design. Okay, all of them are very cute, lovely structures, but not everything fits the particular thing that I was thinking about. Um, what is biophilic design? Pluto in the sign of architecture in my 12th house. Um, mm, and okay, lots of nice stuff. That is interesting. That there is something interesting about this particular design. I'm not sure. It's a combination of. Oh, it's a liminal space. It's a liminal space that allows the light into the cave. And when I think about birthing, is basically think about the water breaks. There's an opening. The light of is kind of like the light of the outside world comes in, and the inner light connects with that. So it's to me when I think about it is from light to light, coming from light to light, and I love the concept of the fabric of the design in light in here. This is also this is more elegant, kind of museum type of thingy, but this one is it makes me because we usually think about dim lighting or amber lighting, and here is something else. I wonder about it because I was when I was born, my parent was thinking to birth me in a forest. That was, yeah. I was like, okay, that is a little bit too painful. Better try the hospital. so, but if I think about the forest, the light is coming through the trees in a way that is filtered. And I was a morning birth. Also, the first time I flew, the first and only time I flew solo, basically in COVID, I didn't know what I was about to fly, and because I did a channeling experiment, it was a morning flight. All other circumstances were disastrous, but that was, um, yeah, that was. I know that was basically when I was tortured, and it's probably considered a form of somewhat mind control human trafficking. Yeah. So, but they had to hone in on lines and patterns that are relevant to me. And the morning flight, where I could see, was what they were kind of like trying to attach themselves in the timeline to. So this is why orgasmic birthing timeline is important, because this is it's not about just organic and organic. It's about the difference between trafficking and sensuality and birthing, and so it's actually life. Um, no, I definitely like this one. Yeah, I'm a little bit overwhelmed. Now, here's the thing: what people call the way that people train the bloodlines that they target or that they want is basically seen as human trafficking as well, because they train them to do crimes against humanity, which was, fortunately, in my case, I was like not. I went because probably because I have 2 points of Talos in my chart, one Jupiter and one the Moon, and that facilitates in alleviation of corruption. So I'm like talking about these patterns because it's both good for the people that were already committing crimes against humanity. There's like, hey, that's the thing that causes people to do that, and this is what we need to eliminate if we want to prevent crimes against humanity. And to the people that don't want to be tortured or further tortured to that tipping point of committing crimes against humanity. Now I need to breathe, and this is a lovely space for breathing. I like this. I'm a little bit overwhelmed. I like the space. This is a nice reading space. And let's continue on the design ideas. Um, this is why the subjugation of the feminine was so centralized on trying to control every connection to the sensual and tag it as whore, because only under that they could control the ebb and flow of the waters, of the water breaking. And this is why no transactional relationship, including even if it's like a high class or whatnot, they're supposed to be like profitable or whatnot, none of those is actually compatible with the timeline of orgasmic birthing. Now, again, it's not a shame and blame. It's a design perspective. It's an architecture perspective. If we're shifting what is set in stone, that's the thing to tend to. Um, and because everything that was rapey, trafficky, or no matter how it presented itself, was basically negating the orgasmic birth flow. And of course, it's a trajectory. So it's not again. It's kind of like describing. How should I say it? If I take a look at an architecture and I say, oh, this is a house that breathes well. It's not blaming the other houses that they don't breathe well. It's actually acknowledging that the other houses don't have that architecture, and that redesigning or refining them to that architecture will support them being more breathing. This is, for example, why I spend so much time aligning my toes, because it affects the inner structure of the body to be able to contain life. Then I'm also a better person. Um, it explores how spatial geometry, airflow, and kinetic technology can replicate the rhythmic, ecstatic, and life-affirming rhythms of the human breath and body. Breathing skins. Oh, this pneumatic technology uses slight pressure changes in glass panels to open and close microscopic muscles, allowing buildings to breathe with minimal energy. Very masculine. It's like a muscle texture. It's sexy. Probably elements that are interesting to combine. Um, parametric parametric skins, fields of differentiated components that undulate and adapt in response to wind and data, giving structures a living biological pulse. It's like breathing into the carpel. And environmental and biological respiration. Some architects look to the cellular and anatomical functions of human breath to create highly efficient, sustainable structures. Breathing walls. Bio-inspired concepts such as properly breathing house. What is properly breathing house? Beachside models in Egypt use layers of porous ceramics, natural textiles, and microvoids to filter dust and promote natural rhythmic ventilation. Yes, the airflow in the architecture, um, because we want an enclosed. People talk about womb-like space, but it's also coming from an enclosed space to breathing well. And those structures facilitate breathing well on the outside for kids. Now, do we have construction models that are compatible? So, minerals, mineral mines, and construction um, work conditions compatible with orgasmic birthing for employees. Now here's the thing. The more we look for that in Google, we basically say we basically request that idea. We request that to be, um, and that's a part of the housing. It's a part of the ventilation system. Let's just put it that way. The fresh air. Um, Providing conditions compatible with orgasmic birthing, which requires deep relaxation, privacy, and environment free of fear of or observation, in mineral mines and constructions is highly challenging. Why? Because these industrial settings are physically demanding. No, they're not. Also, labor is physically demanding. They're not more physically demanding than labor. In fact, the only reason that labor is physically demanding is because those structures, let's just say, the breeding farms were meant to breed enslaved people. um, these industrial settings are physically demanding. In fact, one of the times when I was digging Half Moon, I was shown it was a female energy. I don't know about the like which sex or gender, but I sensed it more like as feminine energy. And she was showing me how people are basically digging to build their houses and how they derive the minerals from the houses that they build, and how that is more form of ethically sourcing minerals. And I'm like, wow, that's such a cool idea. Is um, because it is now I know that the people don't dig into the soil, and I don't know what would be the more compatible way, um, and yet probably those structures could be translated to, let's say, ecosystemic structures, and it would probably give us a whole new perspective on the minerals. For example, finding out we don't actually need petroleum in the medicine. That type of discoveries could probably fuel um, a regeneration in material engineering. Um, in mineral mines, construction is highly challenging, inherently hazardous, and strictly regulated. So is birthing. True on site labor and delivery are unsafe. It's not necessarily on site, but that the labor conditions. Instead, ensure stress-free workplace during pregnancy, followed by comprehensive. Yeah, but the working conditions need to be compatible with fertility. Otherwise, for example, Egypt built pyramids with slaves, and then it had to let the slaves out, and then there was a harem. Okay, and the harem killed Ramses and so on. So, and the gnosis, when we began with Midheaven and Sirius, the gnosis of Sirius is aligning feminine masculine. It's basically orgasmic birthing. It's the bigger sun. It's also connected to the Isis and Osiris story. Basically, Isis and Osiris were Isis. How should I say? It's connected with the Lilith story, but it's kind of like the not exiled feminine. However, it was reserved for the elite, and then they also had the issue of the compartmentalized Osiris, and then Iris building him back. So there was a myth of creation there that was still Frankensteinian. Um, and this is why when I'm talking about creation stories, I'm talking about something that is actually more associated with orgasmic birthing than the exiled feminine or the exiled Lilith building a home with. Um, but it kind of painted Chava, which was the punished life force, as the organic, and Lilith as the unsubjugated woman that would later participate in building something inorganic, as if you are unsubjugated, then you are satanic, then you are demonic. But that essence of courtesan division is something that negates orgasmic birthing. Again, it's not about denouncing Lilith, it's about reintegrating the woman that would not be subjugated, and that causes the orgasmic birthing. And then we have a Ketu on Lilith archetype, because we are going to dematerialize how we understand Lilith, and we are going to probably receive from way more ancient. Waiting for Emma's video on Sedna. She talks about Sedna as the goddess that was thrown into the water, and it is interesting to hear the perspective of people that came from royal bloodlines on these topics. Again, I don't know if I came from royal bloodline or not, and that's the lovely thing about it, because it's in praxis the veil of ignorance mode. Because I was basically grown in a working class household where, let's say, my grandfather, grandmother was a working class household. Um, and this is, yeah. Um, mm, 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 and continuing on. Pregnant workers should be removed from environments, shift to light duty. Flexible schedule and breaks. Stay hydrated, sit down, and use the restroom. I think there really are. I think there really is a call for guide to healthy pregnancies in the mining community. In the mining workplace. We also have to understand that because of the lineages of degradation of the feminine, and the fact that the sensual was only perceived as whore, even when it was a programming of a goddess, then we actually don't have, just like we saw in Genesis, we don't have access to how would the world look like with actual sexuality embodied rather than rape. And then they're just making the tortures and the rapes of the children so-called sacred. Okay. There was something that was addressing her path, which is how girls were basically raped to be priestesses or goddesses. And when we're kettling Magha, we're kettling these practices. Guide to healthy pregnancies in the mining workplace. Yeah, even women are probably somewhat triggered by that, because they grew so. It's the residues of indoctrination. They try to glorify the role of, let's say, so-called the sex worker or the priestess or whatnot, or as the initiators, kind of like, well, what about the fact that those were raped infants and then raped children? If I think about the equivalent in men, then male priests in many denominations could not wed and could not have children. And however, when I take a look at orgasmic birthing, it is a spiritual, sacred, and mundane practice of life incarnation. And so and I also think that the idealization of the woman giving birth without a sperm is, or this ether. While I don't say that that doesn't exist because I don't know, we also have to take into account the praxis of unregistered birth, breeding farms, and so on and so forth. Um, because of course I can definitely see the polarity of the feminine giving birth matriarchally without semen, and the masculine giving birth supposedly technologically, as if they don't take the pneumonia, whatever. And in both cases there is subjugation of the feminine. Okay, when you think about the mother of Jesus being raped at 14, or the breeding farms that later they grow fetuses in technological wombs. Yeah. And this is interesting when I speak about the guide to healthy pregnancies in the mining workplace. We have a woman miner here, and this is from Laurentian University. Laurentian. Physical hazards, chemical hazards, other factors, and references. Um, so I need to go over this thing. Yeah, that would be a nice manual to read. Ian, wait a second. No, no, not yet. All are beautiful. No, this is the reading space. I saw something. Okay. And no. Okay. So that is definitely something I need to go over, which is the mining of the minerals. And then from here, it would probably be easier to talk about construction because, for example, I saw a house that was dug up in a giant agate, and then mining and ethical construction works are literally one and the same. By the way, certain types of agate are to do with unity. So this is unity and cohesion. Um, that's the time for the big ideas. That's the time for the big ideas because that's the time the world is shifting to manifest them, to incarnate them in praxis. Yeah, that is what I think about right now. Overwhelming to even tend to that. Overwhelmingly amazing because midheaven applying to Procyon Spica. I think I have something that conjoins Procyon and Spica. This is Procyon, the rooster, and Spica materia. I do have, yeah, the Spica materia with Jupiter Cancer and some Procyon to go with my Sirius. Mars sour. Mars is applying to square Pluto. Yep. Oh, a little bit of astrologer goods. There was fake information about the royal wedding, and then my parent caught up to that, and they said, "Oh, there is a wedding." Now, before I knew it was fake, I was like trying to think about the chart, and the chart was not opening. So I was trying to think about my worried astrologer was like, Jupiter is 22ing, Saturn is 11 degrees. And I was like trying to say, okay, Venus and Jupiter are both in Cancer. The moon was, but with Ketu. And I'm like, Mars is applying to square Pluto. And, and I'm like, oh gosh, I hope nobody. No, the people that got married today and yesterday, sorry, do another ceremony in a better election. I'm not certified to give you any such election. consult consult a marriage astrologer. So I was like, that's not good. I said, well, probably they did an inner ceremony with a better election. I'm like, Sun, Uranus, Sedna, divorce could be because of. So this is one for the astrologer goods. You know when you was that a good day to marry? It's like, are you already married? Yeah. Okay. Why are you asking me right now? Because my astrologer head begins to immediately affirm that. And it's like, no, it was misinformation. Oh God, why was there misinformation? I don't know. It was about, yeah, um, the digital weddings, the digital weddings, social media. So yeah, this concludes this episode